Good morning, and welcome to this Community Development Block Grant Community and Public Facilities Pre-Application Workshop. My name is Rosie Goldich, and I'm the CDBG Coordinator and your presenter. A couple of housekeeping notes before we begin. This meeting will be recorded, as you just heard, and it will be available on our website after the presentation has concluded. Second, there will be time for questions at the end of the presentation. Please hold all of the questions, and I will unmute you. And thank you for joining this morning. A reminder, the only eligible applicants for the CDBG program are cities, towns, and counties. The application for the 2025 CDBG and Public Community Facilities closes on November 10th. The award ceiling is $750,000, and there is a match requirement of 25% of the requested amount. Therefore, if you are requesting $750,000, the required match is $187,500. If you are seeking a match waiver, that will be discussed later in the presentation. The application opens on October 15th in the Montana Grants and Loans portal. The link to Montana Grants and Loans portal can be found on our website, and I will take you there now. At commerce.mt.gov, you can go to the Infrastructure and Planning tab, Community Development Block Grant Program. Scroll down and you can either use one of these blocks or on the side and select Public and Community Facilities. And then you'll want to go to the Applying for Grants tab. And then you'll see here is the Montana Grants and Loans portal. And when the application becomes live, it will be listed here. Okay. The application opens on October 15th, as I previously stated. And you can find, that's where you can find the Montana Grants and Loans portal page. As of August 1st, 2024, the CDBG program received updated low and moderate income summary data that might affect your community. With this new data from HUD, there are communities across Montana that have changed their low and moderate income status, either making them eligible or ineligible for CDBG. Remember, cities, towns, or counties that are applying for an area-wide benefit project must have 51% low and moderate income beneficiaries. If you are wondering how to use this map in order to determine your LMI status, I will now walk you through a short demonstration. So we're going to go here. Okay. And then we'll go to the link on that website, on the PowerPoint page. We'll take you here. And we'll look at the LMISD map application found on HUD's website. Then you'll click View, and it will take you here to this map application. And then up at the top, up at the top, you'll put in your community, a specific address. So just for the sake of demonstration purposes, I'll include the location of Commerce's building. There we go. And so then I can look up the variety of different census tracts. And it pops up with this application, so specifically for Census Tract 10. And it comes up with this information. Comes up with, this is the number of low-income individuals, low to moderate income individuals, and then also comes up with the low to moderate universe. What you would like to look at is the low and moderate percentage. And so specifically for this census tract, the LMI status is 41.2%. Okay. We'll go back to the presentation. Which, as we just walked through, looks like this. If the applicant will be using an income survey to determine LMI eligibility, the survey tool must be approved by the CDBG coordinator prior to distribution. If an applicant uses the income survey and does not receive CDBG coordinator approval prior to application submission, that application will be deemed ineligible and denied. Therefore, it is paramount to work with the CDBG coordinator prior to submitting your application. The following information must be submitted for review: the draft survey tool prior to distribution, the methodology, including distribution method, the minimum response rate for the surveyed population. If you'd like to know more about the income survey process, you can find the income survey training on the CDBG Public and Community Facilities website underneath applying for grants. The required documentation for submitting an income survey for the CDBG Public and Community Facilities as follows: the approval documentation from the CDBG coordinator, the final survey tool, and the results, including the response rate and subsequent new LMI eligibility. Please do not include completed income surveys that include personally identifying information with your application. Those finalized surveys will need to remain confidential and stay with the associated city, town, or county. Here is some additional pre-award guidance. Posting the request for proposals or request for qualifications for grant administration, architect or engineering services, and construction on the disadvantaged business enterprise, minority-owned business enterprise, and women-owned business enterprise and business-owned enterprise entity search is a requirement. The location for the DBE Weeby quote request has not changed, and there is now a new location for you to add your opportunity. And I'll show you where that is now. So we'll go back to this website. And so here it is on the MDT page, and it is the DBE quote request. There's also the DBE and SBE search directory. So you'll go here, and then you will select the non-MDT request based on what you're looking for. So if you were looking for a construction project, or if you're looking for professional services, this is where you would submit for the DBE SBE quote request page. Section 3 language is also required in procurement documentation during the course of your CDBG project. Please ensure that you are utilizing the most up-to-date Section 3 procurement language found in the Section 3 toolkit on our website. The Uniform Relocation Act compliance is required for CDBG projects. If your active or proposed project includes acquisition of property or long-term leasing, then please work with your project specialist on determining what URA documentation will be required for your specific project. And now we will continue with updates to the CDBG Public and Community Facilities Guidelines. On page 8 of the application guidelines, more details are provided concerning if a city, town, or county wishes to either submit 2 applications in the same CDBG category application round, or submit an application with another project already open in the same project category. This is allowed in very limited circumstances, and documentation of commerce approval is required. A second application without this process will mean that an application will be ineligible and denied. It is in the community's best interest to work with Commerce throughout this process in order to avoid ineligibility. CDBG requires the following documents in this project request: First, a formal letter detailing capacity of the community, city, town, or county, and the need for a second project in the same category. For example, if you already have a public facilities project open and are requesting a second public facilities project. The formal letter must address grant administration and financial capacity, the need for two projects to occur at the same time, and a potential geographic difference between projects. This letter must be signed by the chief elected official of the applicant. In addition, in 2024, there was the addition of a new entitlement community. The four CDBG entitlement communities are Billings, Bozeman, Great Falls, and Missoula. Requirements for entitlement community projects are that the county must be the applicant. In this example, if there was a project occurring within the Missoula city limits, the Missoula County must be the applicant. And the entitlement community, for example, Missoula, must provide a meaningful contribution towards this project. If you have any questions regarding what a meaningful contribution is, please contact me, the CDBG coordinator, or your project specialist for more information. And now we will walk through the CDBG Public and Communities Facilities application. In the CDBG Public and Community Facilities application, there are 7 ranking criterion. A public or community facilities application must receive a score of at least 700 to be eligible for CDBG funds. The maximum maximum points an application can receive is 1,125. The 7 ranking criterion are community planning, need for project concept and technical design, community efforts and citizen participation, need for financial assistance, benefit to low and moderate income persons, and implementation and management. Criterion 1, community planning. The maximum possible points for this criterion are 175. The CDBG application review team will review the adequacy and thoroughness of the planning process by applicant, determining community development and housing and other development needs, and whether the applicant has provided reasonable rationale for selecting proposed project. In addition, the degree to which the applicant has included the needs of the low to moderate income community, and whether the applicant has used planning documents as a springboard for action in the community. Some sample planning documents we review are growth policies, capital improvement plans, downtown master plans, and others. Criterion 2 is the need for the project. The maximum possible points for this criterion are 175. Preliminary engineering reports or preliminary architectural reports are required with CDBG public and community facilities applications. These either PER or PAR documents must address community needs directly related to the protection of public health and human safety, and address the public or community facility and proposed project included in the CDBG application. Criterion 3 is the project concept and technical design. The maximum possible points for this criterion are 150. In this criterion, we review if the applicant has developed a reasonable and complete proposal for dealing with a public or community facility need, and if the proposed project addresses and provides a reasonably complete, cost-effective, and long-term solution in relation to the capacity of the applicant. Criterion 4 is the community efforts and citizen participation criterion. Of the maximum possible points are 100. We review the overall long-term efforts to improve the community, including efforts to secure federal, state, and local funds, and the thoroughness of applicants' past efforts to address community development and public facility needs. We also review the documentation of required public hearings. For CDBG projects, 2 public hearings are required. Appendix C of this CDBG Public and Community Facilities Application and Guidelines contains citizen participation guidance, public hearing requirements, and public noticing samples. There are 2 separate public noticing samples. The first is for the first public hearing, which is typically considered a community needs assessment and general public needs hearing. And the second public hearing details how CDBG funding can be selected for the determined CDBG project from the first public hearing. Criterion 5, which includes need for financial assistance. The maximum possible points for this criterion are 200. In this criterion, we evaluate the financial indicators that demonstrate the applicant's need for CDBG's assistance relative to the other applicants, the presentation of the proposed budget and the budget narrative, demonstration that local financial participation in the proposed project is the maximum that can be reasonably expected, and the amount of CDBG assistance request per benefiting household. Criterion 6 is where the CDBG review team evaluates the benefit to the low and moderate income population. The maximum possible points for this criterion is 150. Just as a reminder, 51% of the CDBG funded project beneficiaries must be low to moderate income persons. Projects are either area-wide, direct benefit, or limited clientele. If you need clarification on how your proposed CDBG project falls within area-wide, direct benefit, or limited clientele, please contact the CDBG coordinator or your project specialist for more information. Low to moderate income status must be proven through either the 2016 to 2020 American Community Survey data, which we reviewed a minute ago, conducting income survey as described earlier in this presentation, and in the low to moderate income handbook found on our website, benefiting a limited clientele that is presumed to be LMI. For example, HUD has several groups of individuals that are considered to be, quote, assumed to be low to moderate income. Demonstrating the applicant has income eligibility requirements, and demonstrating that the applicant is of such a nature that it benefits low to moderate income individuals. If you have any questions regarding the LMI status of your proposed project or want more details, please contact the CDBG coordinator after this presentation. The last criterion is the implementation and management criterion, criterion 7. The maximum possible points for this criterion are 175. We review in this criterion that the applicant has demonstrated that the proposed project is feasible and achievable, taking into consideration activities, various community resources, and a reasonable budget and implementation schedule. We also review the soundness and appropriateness of the applicant's plan for management. The team reviews project readiness, also known as shovel ready, to implement CDBG projects, including firm commitment of non-CDBG funds within 9 months of the CDBG award, not application. Whether the applicant has considered all potential environmental, regulatory and technical concerns, and compliance with the URA Act as previously stated, if applicable. On Commerce's website, we have several existing resources and trainings that can help walk you through the CDBG Public and Community Facilities application. The first is Documenting Benefit to Low and Moderate Income Persons Handbook. As I just stated, this document will help you include and guide you on conducting an income survey or providing more detail about how if your project is area-wide, direct benefit, or limited clientele. On our website, we also have the 2025 application and guidelines. We have the CDBG Grant Administration Manual trainings that just took place last month that detail walking you through our new Grant Administration Manual trainings. And then on our website, we also have an income survey training, which can assist you in performing an income survey. I will share my screen. This is the Public and Community Facilities page that we previously visited. You can find the Documenting Benefit to Low and Moderate Income Persons Handbook here. You can also find the 2024 application guidelines. You can find the draft CDBG Public and Community Facilities application guidelines here. You can find the Grant Administration Manual trainings by visiting our CDBG Grant Administration Manual page. This is where the new Grant Administration Manual is housed. And shortly, the CDBG Grant Administration Manual trainings, including the slides and recorded presentations, will be available here. And then the income survey trainings, if we go back to the Public and Community Facilities page, go to Applying for Grants. And this is where the CDBG income survey training is. Now we will open up the floor for questions. You can either raise your hand and I can unmute you now, or you can contact me at a later date. My email is rose.goldage@mt.gov. And my direct line is 406-841-2787. And if you wish to contact Community MT, you can email our division at doccdd@mt.gov or call us at 406-841-2770. So does anyone have any questions?
Rosie,
Unmute myself. Yep, go ahead.
yeah, Rosie, this is Craig Erickson. Will you still allow communities to submit PDF documents or PDF versions of the application through the file transfer service? Or does everything have to go through the portal?
So if you are unable to use the Montana Grants and Loans portal, or if the formatting of your application does not fit in the Montana Grants and Loans portal, you can still use the file transfer service. But we encourage applicants that if they can use the Montana Grants and Loans portal to do so.
Okay. And just to follow up to that, does the portal allow collaboration?
Can you be a little bit more specific?
Well, for example, Submittable allows a grantee to identify a collaborator who can go into the application and work on the application on their behalf, but that collaborator is not able to submit the application. That has to be done by the applicant. And I was just wondering if the grants portal has that same type of tool.
Correct. Yes, it does.
Oh,
yep.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
Okay, thank you for your questions.
Yeah.
Melissa Richards, go ahead.
Hi, this is Kayla Talbert with Missoula County. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead, Kayla.
Okay, thanks, Rosie. Firstly, thank you for hosting this training. That was really helpful. I had a clarifying question about the quote request for the DDE and WEDI portion.
Okay.
Does that need to happen prior to application submission, or is that just part of grant management?
So if you have already selected, let's just take professional services, for example. So if you are hiring an external organization for grant administration services, and this is being done prior to your CDBG application, technically, it is not a requirement. However, we strongly encourage communities that are selecting a grant administration form for the purpose of CDBG project management and grant administration to use the DBE portal. If you are selecting a grant administrator or architect or engineer post your CDBG award, it is required. And we will require documentation of that submission. Does that help?
Before the application is submitted?
Is it required before the application is submitted or just
We,
after?
we strongly encourage you to use the DBE portal prior to application, but it also depends on your project and your community.
Okay.
If you, it just depends on kind of your timeline. If you are not selecting a grant administrator prior, to your application, if you are selecting your grant administrator post award, then it is required. But it just depends on the timeline. If you are not, I mean, and also, if you are not hiring a grant administrator, then you don't need to worry about the DBE portal. If Missoula County is doing all the grant administration in-house, then that step is not necessary.
Okay. That is helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. And I do want to clarify that in addition, I just brought the example of grant administration services, but for construction procurement, posting in that DBE portal is a requirement, and we will request documentation that that step has been done.
Okay. Post award.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Mhm. Great questions, everyone. Anyone else have any other questions? Okay, so hearing none. And just remember, you can raise your hand if you'd like to ask a question. But I just want to go over a couple of notes before we jump off. First, this presentation has been recorded and it will live on our website. Afterwards, we'll also be posting the slides themselves. And I do just want to remind you that on the presentation right now, you are looking at my contact information. So if you have any questions before you submit your application or even post, any questions about the CDBG program, you can always contact me either by email or by phone. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining us this morning. Oh, Kitty, you have a question? Go ahead.
Yeah, can you hear me? I'm sorry.
Yep,
This
I
is
can hear
Kitty
you.
Schmid.
Yep.
Okay. In the application, can we cite sources as a link in the narrative, or would you prefer them as an exhibit?
I'll say either. So first, please provide sources. Second, depending on the structure of your application, you can do either. I don't think we have a specific preference though.
Okay, that sounds good. And in the portal, can we insert links in the portal as sources?
What I would recommend is, you can add attachments. So, you know, what, why don't I just open up the grants and loans portal and we can walk through it? Does that sound like a plan? So let's go here and then the grants and loans portal. You can search CDBG. And then, even though the public and community facilities application is not live, let's use HSP. You can use apply. Oh my gosh. Sorry about this. Let's do check. So then you can go all the way down to the end. And there's an add attachments button. And so this will be
Okay.
for the public and community facilities. And so if you wanted to provide additional exhibits, then you can add attachments
Okay.
if you wanted to do it that way.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Mhm. Any other questions? Great. Well, if there's anything that comes up, you all know how to reach me, but thank you so much for joining us today.